The story begins as we meet a hardcore gamer named Alan after he beats Elden Ring without even taking any damage. But he thinks it was too easy, so he wants to find something else that can challenge him. He suddenly gets an ad for a game that never ends, which he finds interesting, and he realizes he can play it on Hell mode, which is said to be so difficult that it fills players with despair. But he's confident in his skills, so he decides to try it, and he even chooses the hardest class, a summoner. He suddenly gets sucked into the game, and he finds himself reincarnated as a newborn baby. After a year, we see Alan's mother, Teresa, feeding him, and he recalls how he used to live a miserable life. So he's glad he has a chance to start over. He's still too young to talk, but he can understand what his parents are saying, since everyone uses Japanese in this world. He realizes that he lives in a small village, where the people pay taxes to the ruling lord, and his father, Rodin, is a hardworking man who loves his family. His parents put him to bed and go to have dinner, but we learn that he hasn't worked out how to open his status window even though he's been trying for over a year. A book suddenly appears in front of him, but his parents hear him scream, so he realizes that he messed up and pretends that he was just talking in his sleep. After they leave, he opens the book to check his stats, and he realizes he has 2 skills as a summoner, but he sees that he can only summon H-rank beasts and insects at his current level. He also finds a letter from the god of creation, who apologizes for the delay in delivering his grimoire and explains that it took time to finish since his class is still under testing. He tries to summon a monster, but nothing happens, and he thinks he needs to figure things out himself, since there are no guides in this world. He uses his create skill to make an insect card and prepares to summon it, but he realizes that his mother is watching him, so he goes to sleep. The next day, Alan realizes that his parents are busy, so he takes out his grimoire and summons the insect, causing a grasshopper to appear. He wonders if it will follow his orders, and tries telling it what to do, but it just jumps around, so he realizes it doesn't understand him since it only has the intelligence of a bug. He checks its stats and sees that it doesn't have a name, so he decides to call it Danka. He notices that it buffs his endurance and agility, which he finds amazing. But Teresa freaks out as she sees it, and she crushes it with her foot. After a few days of experimenting with his skills, he manages to summon an H-rank mouse. He realizes that it also lacks intelligence, but he can order it to use its scurry ability. We learn that Danka's ability is to hop, but Alan believes that the world is filled with dangerous creatures, and he thinks his summons are too weak to defeat anything. He realizes that he can stock up to 10 cards for each creature, and thinks their buffs are important because after he stocked up on 10 mouse cards, he had enough strength to cut wood with his axe, but he knows that he still needs to grind a lot to get stronger, since leveling up in Hell mode requires 100 times more XP than normal. Rodin returns home, but Teresa is surprised to see him covered in blood, so he explains that he just finished hunting a great boar. We learn that he goes monster hunting with his friends during winter and fall, and he asks Alan if he wants to see the great boar. Alan looks around the village since it's his first time outside the house, and Rodin shows him the boar he defeated. His neighbor, Jurga, tells everyone to welcome their champion, so they all cheer for him, but he explains that he just got lucky and Jurga thinks he's being humble. Alan greets him, so he's impressed that a 1-year-old can already talk. Alan asks him about the boar, so he reveals that it's an S-rank monster, and that it took 20 men to take it down, which gives Alan an idea about how strong the monsters are. 10 months later, Alan levels up his summon and create skills, and he realizes that he can now make G-rank cards. He also gains a skill that fuses his summons, and he notices that his card space has doubled, so he can now get more buffs from stacking his cards. He unlocks the note feature, which writes down his thoughts into the book, and he wants to continue experimenting with his skills, but he knows that he needs to recover his mana. He quickly eats dinner and tries to fuse his mouse cards, but the book tells him he doesn't have enough mana even though he has already recovered, so he tries to create a G-rank beast instead, but still fails since he lacks the mana. He realizes that he needs to level up his stats before he can do anything. After 2 years, we see that Alan has managed to get 2 G-rank cards, and he fuses them to create a bird. He decides to name it Chappie, and as he summons it, he realizes that it has the ability to mimic voices. He He thinks it can help him trick his enemies, and he summons his 2 other G-rank beasts, which are a frog and a mole. We learn that the frog's ability is to provoke enemies, while the mole can dig holes in the ground, which is useful for setting up traps. He thinks he can dominate the game by mastering his summons, but he falls into a hole that his mole dug out, and he realizes that it's time to duel with his neighbor. He plays dueling knights with Jurga's daughter, Krina, who easily overpowers him. He wonders why he can't keep up with her speed since his agility should be higher from his creature's buffs. He ends up losing the duel, and Teresa tells Krina to go home since it's getting late. Alan helps his mother carry her vegetables since he knows that she's pregnant. That evening, Alan offers to help his parents harvest since he doesn't want his mother to push herself. But they tell him to just play with Krina since they want him to enjoy his childhood. Teresa wonders why he's been throwing rocks at a tree, so he explains that he's practicing how to fight monsters so that he can protect her if she gets attacked. Rodin praises him for his bravery, but we learn that he was only trying to see if he could learn skills aside from summoning. His parents tell him they can't wait for his appraisal ceremony, which determines the kind of talents children have when they turn 5, and they hope that his talent might make them rich. During winter, Alan learns that he can now summon a creature for a whole day, but Krina suddenly calls him, and she defeats him once again. Teresa freaks out when she sees Danka, and they realize that she's about to give birth. So Rodin tells Krina to call her mother, and Alan becomes nervous since he's never seen anyone give birth before. Krina's mother, Hilda, arrives and tells the men to leave the room before helping Teresa give birth. After some time, Rodin and Alan hear a baby cry, so they rush to Teresa's side. She tells Rodin it's a boy, so he decides to name him Mash. Alan thinks about how he doesn't regret leaving his past life behind since he was living like a loser. But now that he has a second chance, he's determined to max out his stats and dominate the world so that he can break the chains of poverty and give his family a better life. When Alan turns 5, he asks his father about the appraisal ceremony. He explains that children from all walks of life will participate and that their talents will determine their future. They head to a commoner village with Jurga and Krina, and they meet the other children who will participate in the ceremony. Alan hears people talking about him, since they can tell that he's a serf, the poorest of the poor. The officials greet the participants and note that their country has seen heroes who started as serfs, which is why they welcome children from all walks of life. Everyone enters the venue, and Alan sees the statues of the gods they worship. Realizing that one of them is the god of creation named Elm, they begin the ceremony. The first participant is the village chief's son, Palmas. He puts his hand on the crystal ball, causing his stats to appear, and the officials reveal that he has the talent to become a merchant, so his father is proud of him. Another boy takes the test, but the officials tell him he has no talent, so he only gets emotional damage. A boy named Dora touches the ball, and the officials tell him he has the talent to become an axe user, so he's happy with the results. Ellen is impressed since he's the first person within a rank attribute. After the other kids take the test, the officials tell Krina that it's her turn. She runs to the ball and touches it, causing it to suddenly glow, and the officials are amazed by her stats. They reveal that she has the talent to become a sword lord, one of the best classes in this world. Everyone is impressed hearing this, and Jurga is happy that she hit the jackpot. But the officials tell Alan it's his turn. He walks to the ball, thinking it will reveal that he's a summoner. But as he touches it, there's a flash of light that suddenly knocks him down. Rodin asks the officials about the results since he doesn't know how to read, but they reveal that Alan has no talent. He realizes that all of his stats are E-ranked, but the word on his talent makes no sense. He thinks it must be a text glitch and blames the devs for it, wondering why they didn't test their game for bugs. Rodin is fine with the results and tells Alan it's time to go home. They return to Teresa, and Rodin tells Alan it doesn't matter if he has no talent since he will always be their pride and joy. He knows that they're poor, but he's still happy that he was born into this family since his parents love him more than anything in this world. At night, Alan thinks about the results of the test. He believes that all of his attributes are E-ranked since he's the only one playing on Hell mode. He thinks all of the kids are level 1, and the rank system reflects the growth they can expect when they level up. But he knows that his progress is 100 times slower than usual, so the test didn't display the actual value of his stats. He thinks the experience is enough to make other players depressed, but he's still determined to beat the game. The next day, Alan and his family visit Krina. Teresa congratulates her for discovering her talent. Hilda notes that they should celebrate by drinking, but Rodin refuses, so Alan wonders if he's jealous. He notes that he's happy for Jurga since Krina has an amazing talent, but Jurga wonders why Rodin wants to cut ties with them. Everyone is surprised hearing this, but Rodin explains that he needs to do it since Krina is about to join the nobility and she can't be seen hanging out with serfs. Alan realizes that he's trying to do Jurga a favor he didn't ask for, and they start fighting. Their wives stop them and force them to behave. Alan wonders if they always fought in the past. Hilda reveals that they're both hotheads who used to fight each other all the time, but having children has made them softer. Teresa reveals that the four of them are childhood friends, and they all moved to the village where they work together to build their houses. After that, Jurga learns that the Order of Knights is coming to see Krina, so they return to the commoner village. Dagora wonders what Alan is doing there, since talentless losers aren't supposed to be there, but Krina defends him. The knights suddenly arrive, and the villagers recognize the captain, Zenf. He tells the chief to show him their sword lord, so he calls Krina. Zenf notes that he wants to test her strength in a duel, and Jurga is against it since he thinks she's too young for a real fight. Zenf threatens to execute her if she doesn't accept the duel, so everyone becomes worried, but she becomes excited when she sees a sword and realizes she gets to wield it if she accepts. Everyone watches as the vice captain, Labaran, prepares to take her on. She immediately charges in, but he parries her attacks. Alan isn't sure if she can win against a knight, but Krina gets back up and starts exuding an aura. Labaran freaks out as he realizes she's using an extra skill. She pushes him back, cuts his sword in half, and Zenith announces her as the winner. He apologizes for being rude and admits that Krina's talent is amazing. He wants to discuss her future with Jurga and tells him he can bring his friends along. They sit together at the village chief's house. Zenf reveals that he was sent there to check if Krina was the real deal. He explains that 3 years ago a sword lord born into a noble family failed expectations because the talent was exaggerated, which is why the kingdom wanted to test Krina. He tells Jurga to help her develop her talent so she can attend the academy when she turns 12. Dora also wants to enter the academy, and Krina tells Alan to join them, but Dora says Alan doesn't have a future since he has no talent. Jurga introduces Rodin to Zenf, who recognizes him as the boar hunter and calls him a village hero. Alan realizes his father is famous. After that, everyone heads home, and Rodin tells Alan that even serfs can be recognized by nobles, so they should continue to do their jobs with pride. After some time, Alan finally levels up his summon skill and unlocks the enhance ability, allowing him to strengthen his monsters. He also unlocks F-rank creatures and gains more card inventory. That evening, Teresa is pregnant again. Mash wonders if it's a boy, but she thinks it's a girl. Alan notices that the scar on Rodin's arm has disappeared. Rodin explains that it's because he passed a trial of the gods, a special moment during hunting that restores energy and heals wounds. Alan finds it interesting and thinks it's like leveling up. As Alan prepares for bed, he receives a message from the dev saying they fixed the glitch from the appraisal ceremony. He checks his real stats and realizes he's as talented as Krina, just in a different way, because he's a summoner. He uses his enhanced skill on Danka, but Teresa panics again and crushes it once more. The next day, Alan creates a grass card, which turns out to be an apple. He names it Oppo, and discovers it has an aroma ability that helps recover mana faster. Later, Rodin returns home injured after a hunt. Jurga explains that commoners ruin the strategy, and Rodin got hurt protecting them. Alan realizes he hasn't done anything to help his family, and decides to step up. He starts helping with heavy work, shocking everyone with his strength, since he has focused all his buffs into physical stats. Later, Alan hunts using his summons as bait and encounters an Albaharan, a B-rank creature. After a tough fight, he defeats it and gains XP. He brings it home, and Jurga helps negotiate with the chief so they can keep more of the meat. Alan continues hunting, levels up after 6 years, and finally decides to tell his parents the truth that he was blessed by Elm and must face trials beyond normal people. Rodin tells him to keep his talent secret, so people won't think he's a false prophet. During winter, Alan learns about trade and social classes. He discovers how expensive it is to rise from serf status and realizes how hard it will be to change his family's future. After more training and fights, Alan learns that the Baron keeps increasing hunting quotas, forcing more pressure on the villagers. Alan suggests training the commoners instead of rejecting them, claiming that the wisdom of Elm guides him. But that's where this video ends. Let me know if you want to see more of this series in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.